Just to get off, with you guys in the bye week, what was your kind of big point of emphasis with the defense?
Really just the same as always. You get a chance to kind of reevaluate yourself, and then get a good chance to get a jump start on your opponent too, since they had a bye week also. So all the film was kind of in the hopper there for you to study. So that's really what it was. Just a great opportunity to get started on Iowa State.
Obviously, you spent several years there with Coach Campbell at Iowa State. What's your recollection of being with Campbell at Iowa State just overall?
Naturally, he's, it kind of speaks for itself. He's one of the best coaches in the nation. His connection he makes with kids is unbelievable. But more than that, the biggest thing I always remember about Coach Campbell is that he's the greatest coach as he is, he's even a better person. And that's what I always appreciate about him. He's a tremendous guy. He's a tremendous coach, a tremendous father, tremendous husband. And those are the things I always remember about Coach Campbell. And I appreciate the time I got to spend with him.
I know Mauser was on staff with you guys at Iowa State at that time, different role. But is that something that helps at all, maybe knowing him, tendencies, things like that? Does that mean anything?
Oh, that's a great question, but not really. That offense has changed, so much. It's about 3 coordinators removed since I was there, So, just like every good team, they begin to, transform and morph into different things. And so they're just different. And, naturally the play call is different. But, we're really proud of Coach Mauser. Where he started from and where he is now is just an unbelievable story. And, he's a good friend. He's a great coach. So I'm really proud of him. Look forward to competing against him here Saturday.
What do you think makes Haycock's defense so effective?
The big thing is just how he coaches it. It's not so much the X's and O's, it's how you do things. That's what Coach always said. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it. Those guys play hard, they play fast, no matter who they put on the field. They play hard and fast, and I think that's really important. The scheme, it's a different scheme. It's something that you got to try to get ready for in a week, and I think that's hard when that middle safety's sitting there and doing things. And just like to talk about the offense, they kind of changed the defense around to do a couple different things too, just because it's been around for so long. But he's a godfather of it, and they've been successful for years and really been top of the conference in defense. So another guy too, Coach Haycock, somebody I talk to every week, and he's just a tremendous guy.
What was the overall assessment of your defense at Arizona? Obviously didn't finish the way you wanted, I'm sure, but up until that last drive especially, what did you see that you liked?
We did a good job, initially stopping the run. I thought we did a good job. In the pass game too, I don't know how many yards they finished up with, but I thought we did a pretty good job there. And then, the rushing coverage kind of worked together during the game, so that was good to see. We had some covered sacks. Then we had some times where we got after the quarterback quickly. And those type of things, I think we got to do a better job taking advantage of the opportunities that we had. We had about 2 or 3 opportunities to really take the ball away, and so that was kind of the disappointing thing about that. So, but that's something to learn from, and now we got to move on to Iowa State.
How quickly do you move on? Leroy got the pick and it comes back. How quickly do you expect guys, because that's a massive play if it stands, right, a game changer, and how quickly do you expect and coach your guys to move on from something like that in a game?
You got to move on to the next play no matter what it is. You can take you can't take the results of the play with you. You can take what happened, the information, and learn from that. But every play is a new play, and you got 4 to 6 seconds, and you got to flush. You got to be ready to go. So we expect our guys to be able to move on to the next play. They have to, because our opponent's going to move on. They're going to try to score the football. So that's the mindset you got to have each and every time, each and every play.
DK, you guys are bringing a lot of pressure on Arizona. It seemed to get to him. Was that something you saw that you dialed up a little more?
I think we bring pressure quite a bit. It's just one of those days that it kind of got there and worked. And so, like I said, it wasn't so much the pressure, it was the coverage and the pressure working together. And I think they always got to work hand in hand as the marriage of the two. You can have pressure on a guy, but if you don't cover, it really doesn't matter. And then if you're covering and guys don't get there, that doesn't matter. So it's the marriage of the rush and cover that's really important. And those things got to be in sync, and I thought they were pretty in sync during that game, and we got to continue that when we play Iowa State.
When you look at their offense, what are the challenges they present?
They're different in the fact that they'll play 12, 13, 14 personnel, so they'll have 2, 3, 4 tight ends on the field at a time. That's very uncommon in college football nowadays, and the tight ends that they put out there are really good. I think number 18 is the best tight end in the conference. And so he's a tough matchup, so when they're in 12, they can line up still in a spread offense and give him the ball and different things like that. I think that's very unique. I think just the offense they run is different. You know, this conference is a lot of people are running spread, and they kind of went old school and kind of went back to smash mouth football, and I think that's pretty neat. And so that creates a challenge to try to prepare for, you know, in a week. And I'm glad we had 2 weeks to get ready for that and get ourselves ready to go for the type of game that it's going to be. And then, you know, their quarterback, you know, Rocco's, you know, in a conference full of really good quarterbacks, you know, he's right there at the top. And he's one of my favorite guys to watch. And he does a great job. You know, he's tough. He's a competitor. He really works hard, and he delivers some great passes to those guys, too. So it's going to be a unique challenge for us going up there and playing in that atmosphere. And I look forward to our guys stepping up to that challenge.
You said you're happy you got 2 weeks to prepare. How do you manage the physicality, I guess, of preparing for a team that's going to play 3 tight ends or play bigger like that when you have a bye week? So how do you go about kind of managing all of that?
Yeah, you got to start preparing. You know, last week we started preparing for it and getting ourselves ready to see, you know, the amount of tight ends we're going to have out there. And then, you know, that's the big advantage of it. And then seeing all the looks that they're going to give you and go from there. And football's a physical game, so you got to be able to front up, wrap up, and start to do that in the game. You know, you're not going to be great at tackling if you don't do it, you know, during the week. So last week was a good week to do that and give the guys a couple of days to get their bodies back and then start back with it yesterday, ready to go again. So we had a good practice today and need another good one tomorrow to get us going ready for Saturday up there at Ames.
Dak had some good plays against Arizona. Coach Apple talked a little bit about his journey this year, but from your perspective, what sort of growth have you seen from Dak over the course of the year?
Yeah, that's kind of the definition of what you want in a program like this. You know, he started off, you know, as a freshman and kind of growing and different things like that. This year, you know, being in the position he is, you know, kind of behind Leroy and then, you know, kind of behind some other guys there. Now he got his opportunity. It was fun to see in the game, too, because, you know, those weren't just like him working a great move and getting a sack. Those were second effort plays that he had. He got chipped on both of those and just worked really hard to get there. And that's just an example of just a guy just straining and wanting to get to the quarterback. There's another example, too, just what I was talking about, just about we covered long enough to let Dak get there. So I look forward to him. I mean, that kid has such a bright future. And if he continues to work and just put his head down and grind, man, he could be an unbelievable player here for the Jayhawks.
What about his skill set makes you think he's a bright future?
He has a natural way of rushing the passer. He can bend very well. He can turn a corner. He has natural strength, you know, functional strength, you know, that he can transfer from the weight room to the football field. Some kids don't have that. You know, and then he has just some intelligence on. He has a plan when he rushes, and then he has a counter. And I think all great pass rushers have that. He's able to execute that from a drill to like you saw in the game, which was fun to see.
You talked about the marriage between the pass rush and the coverage. What did you see from the coverage and from the DBs in particular?
I just thought they were sticky in coverage. They were tight. They did a good job. They also did a good job of taking, you know, stuff from the film room to the field too. And that's fun to see for guys, especially for young guys, especially because young guys sometimes are just out there playing a little bit. They understand that because everything's new and the game's moving fast. But I think for some of those guys like Austin, you know, that game is slowing down a little bit for him. Saeed got a chance in the second half to come out. He's been playing really good for us the second half of the season. You know, Jay Todd, I thought, played probably one of his best games, you know, that he had, and was unfortunate for the pass interference call. But other than that, I thought he played a heck of a football game. So I think for our young DBs, I think that game's starting to slow down a little bit. And that's fun to see, and I hope we can continue that this week up in Ames.
Lance mentioned Jaleel Hurley as a guy that's maybe starting to take some steps as well.
Yeah, just another guy who's been working, and you know, Jaleel's still a young guy for us, you know, and so he's another guy. He's been practicing his butt off, and it's fun to see those guys who've been really working hard in practice now is starting to show up in the game for him. And so, like I said, Jaleel's just another guy of that example who's been practicing his butt off, and I think it's starting to show off on the field. I'm really happy for him.
Anything else for Coach McDonald?